What's up, everyone? NextGen 2023 is a wrap. I am exhausted. I hurt all over, but it was worth it, and it was an amazing week. I've thought about the week over and over and over again, and I am amazed. God's faithfulness, God's graciousness, just the way that God showed up this past week was amazing. And so this is my time to just kind of go a little more in depth on some stuff with you guys. But first off, I just want to know, or I want you guys to know that your prayers were so appreciated. Your prayers definitely kept me going through the week, knowing that I had people that were praying for the kids, for myself, for energy, for all of it. Your prayers are so appreciated and couldn't have been done without you guys and your support and your prayers. So thank you so much for that. Let's just kind of recap the week real quick. Monday night, no idea what I was expecting. I really didn't know what was going to happen. I knew there was a possibility of it being a really big group, but I really didn't know what was going to happen. And then Monday night rolls around, and one kid comes in, two kid comes in, we're playing and all that, and it was just kid after kid after kid after kid after kid, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, just one after another, and 4 and 5 and 3, and it was just, I'm still in shock over that one night. Monday night, brought 55 kids. We originally thought it was 53, and then 2 ended up not getting marked on our sign-in sheet, so 55 kids. And I was just mind blown. I really didn't, I don't know what I thought. I don't know that I thought that we weren't, I really don't know. I had hoped it was going to be a lot. And then it happened, and I was just like, I can't believe it. I think in the back of my mind, I was just like, we've had years where, like last year, where I had 30 plus signed up and only had 20 or so come the first couple nights. And so I think I really just thought, it's just going to be a few. And it was not at all. And I kept going over to Dad and to Kelsey and just saying 53 kids, because at that point we didn't know that it was 55. I was like, 53 kids. Oh my gosh. And I went home that night and got to my parents' house to eat dinner and stuff afterwards. I was just like, Mom, 53 kids. Like, I can't believe it. I was in shock. But it was incredible. Like, it was a great shock, and I loved it. But 55 kids. Monday night, we talked about Lazarus. We talked about that he was sick, and that, Jesus loved him a whole lot, and that, Jesus said that Lazarus' sickness won't end in death, and this has come, that the glory of God will be shown, and talked about that Jesus brought Lazarus back from the dead, and that, Jesus can bring us from death to life as well through salvation. That was our lesson on Monday night. The kids listened great. It was just awesome. It really was. So I'm like, 55 kids, awesome. Roll into Tuesday, and I'm thinking, okay, is it going to be the same? Now, to add to this, Monday and Tuesday night, there was a football camp going on. Now, it was for older kids. It was for 5th through 8th grade. But I knew that was affecting my numbers a little bit. I just didn't know how much. I wasn't sure of who all went to football camp that was going to come to me. I knew like 2 or 3 that said, hey, we'll be there Wednesday on after football camp's over. Awesome, come on, we'd love to have you. So I didn't know what it was affecting. So Monday's done, roll into Tuesday, same thing. Kid after kid after kid after kid. New kid that wasn't here yesterday. Another new kid, another new kid, another new kid. Hey, new kid. 62 kids on Tuesday. We jumped from 55 to 62. We gained 7 new kids in between those 2 days. And I really was just mind blown. Again, like honestly, I was mind blown all week. Like there was nothing, like I just couldn't believe it. But Tuesday, we talked about King Solomon, about how God gave him wisdom to determine who the baby belonged, with the 2 mothers that came with one baby. And then we talked about, that he said to bring the sword, and that told his men to split them, and that the mothers, the real mother said, no, don't kill the baby, give him to her. So we talked about that, the truth is always going to come out. You can lie till you're blue in the face, but eventually the truth is going to come out, and the love wins, right? The mother's love for her child overcame the desire because she wanted the child to live. So we talked about that. The kids were very intrigued with the fact that he was going to split the baby in half. Of all nights, Tuesday was probably one that I was frustrated isn't the word, but a tad down, if you will, I guess, after story time, because we went from 55 to 62. Big jump of kids. And they were a little more talkative on Tuesday. They got to know each other Monday if they didn't, and so they were a little more talkative on Tuesday. So story time didn't go as well as I would like on Tuesday, but every time that I said, what did we talk about on Tuesday? Said we talked about a man named Solomon who was king. What happened? And they knew right off, he was going to split the baby in half. And so my follow-up question was always, but God gave him what? And they'd say, God gave him wisdom. And so the more and more the week went on and I recapped every day, I felt better about Tuesday because they were able to tell me exactly what the point of that story was, and it was that God gives us wisdom in hard situations. So that was Tuesday. Then we hit Wednesday. We hit the middle of the week, right? The climax, if you will. And middle of the week, halfway point, climax fits it perfectly because that was my high day of the week as far as numbers go. 66 kids on Wednesday. And it was great. It really, really was. But Wednesday with 66 kids, we talked about Joseph getting sold into slavery, and that his brothers were jealous and they got mad, and so they wanted to get rid of him. But we talked about that what the brothers meant for bad, God turned to good when he found favor in the king, right? And then so we also touched on forgiveness whenever his brothers came whenever there was a famine and they needed food, so they came, and Joseph was the one that was distributing the food, and that he forgave his brothers. He told them, go get our other brother and dad and bring him back and come live with me in Egypt. So we talked about the forgiveness part of that, and then we also talked about that what they meant for bad, God turned to good, and that God can change situations in just the tip of a hat. But that was my climax of the week, and then we were on the downhill stretch. Thursday, 59 kids, and we talked about following instructions. We talked about the wall of Jericho. We talked about how the Israelites had to follow instructions specifically in order to overtake Jericho, so that they could continue on to Canaan, where God had told them that they would live. So we played a game, because all of these stories connect back to games, but we did a game where it was specific that you had to follow my instructions. You had to aim at a frisbee first. You had to get the frisbee knocked down first. And then because both teams had 2 frisbees, once both frisbees were down, then you could go for their hula hut in the middle. And so I was kind of changing stuff up as we were going, because I told them from the beginning, you have to follow my instructions. And so I, at the beginning, as many people as you want can guard your frisbees. And as it went on, all right, only 2 people can guard your frisbees, right? Pick your 2. But you had to follow my instructions to a T in order for it to work. And so therefore, I turned that into the fact that the Israelites had to follow God's instructions exactly like he said in order for them to accomplish the goal that God had for them. Then we also talked about the fact that even though it seems crazy to us, with God it's possible, right? The Israelites probably looked at, probably thought that it was crazy, right? We're going to march around these walls and they're going to fall. We transitioned that to that, whenever it seems like God is doing nothing, he's working. And so that was Thursday. Friday, final night, 62 kids. So never was under 50 kids at all during the week, but 62 kids. And Friday night is the big family night. It's different than everything else. So all during the week, Monday through Thursday, how it's set up is we do games from when they get there 6 to 7. We take a break for about 20 minutes. 7 to 7:20 we do our Bible story. And then we come back in and play games from 7:20 till they leave at 8. Friday is different. Friday is when they get there at 6, it is games from 6 until 7:30ish. We don't break in the middle for snack on Friday night. We wait till the end. About 7:30ish, we start doing the relay obstacle course, because it is the main thing for that night, because it relates so well. So we play all their favorites, and then about 7:30, 7:20ish, 7:30ish, we do the obstacle course setup. Relay, it's really not a relay because they only go once, but obstacle course. So our obstacle course was that they had to do an agility ladder, then they had to zigzag around some cones, they had to jump over a makeshift hurdle. It was just a jump rope. They'd jump over the hurdle, and then they had to run down and grab one thing from the pile and put it in the bucket and run back. And so they went until everybody had gone, and I timed them. And they did it all. This was 62 kids, mind you, but they did it in 2 minutes and 17 seconds. And so I'm like, y'all are awesome. That's great. I think you can do it faster. So I challenged them. I said, I think you can do it under 2 minutes. And they were like, all right, we got this. Let's go. So we do it again. They're going. I tell them, if you don't get this under 2 minutes, you're going to have a punishment. And so they're going as fast as they can, right? They get done, and it's like 2 minutes and like 10 or 11 seconds. And so I'm like, well, y'all didn't do it. You're going to have a punishment. So they spread out. And I meet with my youth helpers. And thank goodness for my youth helpers, because they add so much to crowd control and just playing with the kids. And it makes my life so much easier. But I meet with my youth helpers in the middle. And I'm like, we just kind of pretend to talk. And we break out of that group, that huddle, and I'm like, all right, guys, we talked, and y'all have been so good this week that we decided that we're going to take your punishment. So we step in, we take the punishment. The punishment was 5 burpees. I didn't tell them what it was before we did it, because normally if I'm like, you're going to do burpees, there's always those kids that are like, yeah, I love burpees. And I'm like, you're crazy. But 5 burpees. So we do that. And then Friday night is always the night that I invite parents. I tell them, you guys are more, I tell the kids on Thursday night, I'm like, look, tell your parents, they get to come. They can come for our last Bible story, and we'll do awards and all of that stuff. I said, but look, if your parents want to come and they want to play with you the whole night, tell them to come on. They are more than welcome. And this is the first year that I actually had parents come and join in and play. And so it was awesome. That was another thing that I loved, that I had parents that actually stepped in and played. And the kids had a blast. The parents, I think, had a blast. So it just made it even better. But so we get done with the relay, we do the punishment, and then we transition and we go do snack for that night. So everybody gets a snack, has a seat, all that. And then the Bible story that night is always Jesus. The gospel presentation, right? I start off with, if you had a perfect world, what would it be like? Now let's think of ways that our world is not perfect and there's brokenness. What are examples? And I go into that, God wanted us to be perfect, and we can't because there's sin in the world, and just that, we needed a way for us to be able to have a relationship with Him, and so therefore He sent His Son, and His Son died and rose again, and that we can, accept Jesus in 3 simple steps, the ABCs: admit, believe, confess. I go through all that, go through the whole gospel message spiel, and then I connect back. And I say, y'all, the punishment that God took on the cross should have been ours. We should have had that punishment. But just like we took your punishment of burpees when you didn't meet your goal because you couldn't do it, Jesus stepped in and He took our punishment on the cross because we're not perfect and we couldn't do it. So Jesus stepped in and He took that punishment on the cross for us. And it's amazing. And this year was so cool because the kids made the connections with the games really well. Back to Monday on Lazarus, played a game called Jedi, and we play Jedi a lot during the week. They love it. This is the first year I've ever used it as a Bible story game because it fits so well. So the purpose of Jedi is it's like dodgeball, and when you get out, you have to go stand in a hula hoop jail, is what it is, just hula hoops. You just go stand in the hula hoop, and your Jedi, so your team picks a Jedi every round, but your Jedi is the only one that can get you out of the hula hoop, right? The Jedi comes and tags you, and then you're good. You're back in the game until you get hit again, and then this process just repeats. But Lazarus, I made that connection of Lazarus was dead, and Jesus brought him back to life. In Jedi, you all were dead whenever you got out, right? You were out of the game. You were dead. Your Jedi came and brought you back to life and brought you back in the game. And just because this is the first year that kids were like, when I said that, kids were like, yeah, we were dead. The Jedi's like Jesus. And I was like, yes, perfect, awesome job, way to get it. And it was just an awesome week. But Friday, with the 62 kids, I had parents as well, just jam-packed full of people. And it was awesome. And I've spent so much time over the last week just processing, how camp was going every day and stuff. And I just kept going back to the fact that last year, our largest day was 33 kids. And this year, that doubled at 66. And I went back to, I said it Friday night even, I said, we talked about that when it seems like God, sometimes it seems like God isn't working, but he's up to something. I said, y'all, we had 33 kids last year on our highest night. This year we had 66, it doubled. God is still working. And I really just, y'all, I love this ministry. I love it so much. This is my baby, and it just was an amazing week. There's one story that I have to tell. There was tons of names that I had no clue who these kids were that were coming or that were signed up. And there was 3 little girls that showed up, and they were here all week. By the end of the week, there was 4 of them. They brought their little sister, and she hung out too. But I had suspected that they were probably, I didn't know of what, but of a different religion. And so but I'm like, we're here to have fun. I'm not gonna, that's not my business. They came to have fun, and if they hear Jesus in the process, that's great. But I had suspected that they were of a different religion just from that first night. Well, the next day, I got a message from a church member who knows them personally. I don't know how, but knows them a little bit better than I do. Obviously better than I do, but knows them more personally. And she said, I don't know if you're aware, but you have 3 little Muslim girls coming to your camp. And they went home last night talking about Jesus. And I was just like, that right there is enough for me. If nothing else happens this week, that right there is enough. That I at least had 3 little girls that went home talking about Jesus. And that happened on Monday. And so when that happened on Monday, I was like, all right, God, the rest, it's yours. I mean, it's God's from the beginning, but I was like, God, I'm good. You showed up already this week. If nothing else happens, you showed up, and I'm happy with it. But it was such a good week. There was so many times when our sanctuary was just full of kids, that I just sat back and just looked at them all and just watched them all play and laugh and have such a good time. And I was just thinking, God, this is all you. And I just, literally, I stood there and almost had tears in my eyes because I was like, God, you did this. I mean, I promoted as much as I could, but in the end, it's God's doing. And I feel blessed that I get to lead this. I really do. I feel blessed that I have been called to do this because I make such great relationships that just continue to build. So many of these kids have come back year after year, and I had a group of kids that came last year for the first time and came back this year, and their grandma actually had told me back in like June, she was like, they cannot wait. They are so excited. She said this is bigger than the 4th of July for them. They are so excited. They cannot wait. And the first night that they walked in, the oldest one, she's going into 7th grade, and so my thing is actually I'm not strict on my age range at all, but my thing says completed kinder to completed sixth, just as kind of a guideline. But she walked in and she said, "I'm so sad because this is my last year." And I looked at her and I said, "Sis, you can come back anytime you want." I said, "You are more than welcome to come back. Next year, the year after, I don't care. You are more than welcome to come back." This seems so much more than just a camp. This is like our own little family that after a week, we get to know each other really well for the most part. This is like our own little tribe that we just love to have fun and we love to play with each other and joke around, and it's incredible. And I just, like I said, I feel so blessed that I get to be the one to lead it. But 66 kids this week as a max filled our sanctuary up. And there was lots of times over the week that I was like, I don't know how many more kids I can do. So I don't know what the future will look like. I know that it'll continue because I am for sure of that. But I don't know what it's going to look like. I might have to break it up and do a couple different camps to try and distribute my numbers. I might have to find some more help, because really it's me. I mean, I have my youth workers, or my youth helpers that just come and volunteer and hang out. But as far as being in charge of stuff, it's me. And so I really don't know what it's going to look like. I do not want to put a cap on it because it is an incredible ministry, and I'm like, if they want to come hear about Jesus, I'm not going to tell them no. So I don't know what it's going to look like. I really don't. But this week was incredible. And if we doubled in size from last year to this year, I can only imagine what'll happen from 2023 to 2024. I can only imagine. And so I'm like, God, this is yours. If it's your will that we go up and we have close to 100, I'm all for it. If it's your will that we shoot back down and we've only got 20, 30, that's fine too. Like, it is all you, God. But I can't say thank you all enough for your support, for your prayers, for your love. It was felt, it was needed, and it was just incredible. But NextGen 2023 is a wrap. NextGen 2024 will bring 5 years of NextGen in Oklahoma. And so we're going to go big on NextGen 2024. We're going to celebrate 5 years of games that glorify with kids, and I cannot wait. I have already started thinking about everything I can do in 2024 to make year 5 incredible. So I cannot wait to show you guys all the ideas I have in my head. But for now, I am going to just reminisce on all the great moments and memories that happened for NextGen 2023. And I'm going to take a nice long nap, because before I know it, it'll be back around time to do it again. So thank you guys so much for everything. NextGen 2023 was absolutely incredible.